Welcome back to Shattered Dreams Poetry with Rena Lynn. This is a channel that features poetry at the moment from the Shattered Dreams book that I wrote years back in the middle of a deeply healing period. I was on a support group online with a lot of women who had lived in really rough relationships, mostly narcissistic men. So I wrote it for me and for them as we went through that healing period, and I decided to share it with people because I've sent it to many, many people throughout the years, and it seems to really go well. It's actually used by a college professor in her classroom, and she shares it with other professors. And I've had people that have told me their counselor told them to read this book. So I just wanted to share it a little bit more broadly and let you know also that I own the publishing company. So if you also write poetry and would like to publish your own book, then contact me at askrenalyn@yahoo.com. And if you just have a piece or two you'd like to share, send that to me at askrenalyn@yahoo.com and I'll look it over. I'm not going to promise that I'm going to publish every piece because I'm just a little bit particular about things and it'll have to be something that meets my guidelines. But if you don't mind me dropping it into PowerPoint, sharing it on here, I'll put your name on it and we'll give you all the credit. And that way we can all use this channel to get a little bit more out there and to help other people grow. Now, this particular piece is called Gilded Sanctuary. And what it speaks to, some people have asked me, why call it Shattered Dreams Poetry? What was the reason for that? It's pretty obvious. It was your dreams were completely shattered. But also, this is more toward moving toward healing. It's more about what that healing looks like and what it symbolizes. So, this is kind of set up as a master branding guide for the channel itself and what we're going toward and the architecture of recovery. So, I just really, really wanna share that with you and get the idea out there what it's for because sometimes people misunderstand. So let's look at Shattered Dreams Poetry, the master branding guide for the architecture of recovery. All right. We're anchoring high stakes narrative in a real world restoration. There's a lot of hurting people out there that are struggling to not be hurting anymore or that are trying to figure out just the way, how do you go from this place of brokenness back to a place of restoration? So the Shattered Dreams notebook line bridges the critical gap between brokenness and healing. It's rooted in this kinetic Christian realism that I'm always talking about and writing about, especially in my Prepare for the End book series, which if you have not got started yet, you need to get. I made book one in the ebook form free for 90 days to give you a chance to get started. And sorry about that. I hit something on my computer. Um, it'd give you a chance to get started. Okay, this is all about translating the psychological reality of survival into a tangible, elegant sanctuary for the reader to give you something to attach to and something to help you bump start that growth, or just to give you that understanding that somebody out there gets it. So this is a withdrawal from the corrupt, manipulative systems that you've lived in for a while or still do, excuse me, into a place of restored integrity and I'd say dignity. All right, so let's look at the psychological dichotomy at the brand's core. On one side, you've got the hollow construct. This is the deceiver. This is the narcissist. This is the person who has put you in this place of abuse and diminished self. The status of a narcissist is they are impossible. And all of these are lines, by the way, from different pieces of poetry, so you can watch for them. The status is an imposter inflated with lies, hate, and pride, a windbag with nothing inside. The tactic is this puppeteer drives victims insane simply for the sport of doing it, subtly trying to steal their thunder to raise their own status. Because a narcissist really is a construct. There's no true personality inside, so they're always adopting somebody else's or some kind of mask, some kind of charade to get away with what they're doing. And they always want to get that mask of the innocent perfection while underneath they're ripping somebody's lives apart. So the environment in this is a complete cognitive dissonance, a world where they convince you that black is labeled white and you're so unsettled and off balance that sometimes you don't even know what's real. So on the other side, we're opposing this. And again, I'm using a woman simply because I'm a woman, but this can apply to men who have been in a narcissistic relationship as well with a narcissistic woman. So just don't worry about that if you're a guy that says woman. There's a reason for that. All right, she's the survivor. Her status at this point, she's fearless, determined, and totally free. And if you've read my or watched the one on Force of Nature, you'll know where that comes from. She's radiating authentic, intrinsic value. She's thrown off this place of abuse, this place where she doesn't know who she is and doesn't know her own power. So the tactic it came through, she had to escape. Okay, she's holding the scissors, snapping the slender wires, shutting the door. And those words come from the puppet master, which you'll get in a few days. All right, the environment now, she's escaped this place. We're so restricted. She's created her own sanctuary, a real life without pain, where her confidence is regained and she realizes that she's not this worthless, valueless person that she's been made to believe. She's actually the one that's made of gold. All right, let's chart the trajectory of this liberation. Phase one, you're ensnared in the maze. This is where reality retreats as the victim is sucked into the maze of misdirection and their instincts completely turn to rust. All right, phase two, the snap. This is the severing of that relationship. The realization hits that it's never going to get better. It's not what you want. It's not a choice that they need to get a little bit more education. This is simply who they are at heart. So this is lines come from one of the pieces of poetry too. I feel the slender wires snap. Old programming begins to fray. Phase three, this is the sanctuary. This is the rebuilding. This is building a home for yourself and your children and other people that does not include this stricture, this confined, this always being reduced to something that's less than the other person. This is where you're writing new words that turn the wheel. You're finding the space to grow, heal, and exist as 100% who you were intended to be when God created you. Right? Pillar one. This is called the oceanic realism, constructing the sanctuary interface. And I used a lot of lace in this, and I'll tell you just in a little bit what that symbolizes. But just, I love the beauty of this slide. The aesthetic pillar commands the visual representation of the architecture of recovery. Because you've been ripped to shreds. You just had this almost bloody nightmare. And so you need that, especially as a woman. Our womanhood has been ripped from us. So I like to use lots of feminine um, slides and colors and materials because we're regaining that womanhood as much as anything. It signifies a total withdrawal from the deceiver's chaos into a fiercely protected haven. It must visually communicate a space that's breathtakingly soft, yet infinitely resilient. We're talking about refined and intensely feminine fabrics and stuff. And unshakable elegance is what I was going for because I want to create a haven of safety that visually repels chaos. And again, this is one of the themes in my Prepare for the End series. So you might want to get that and see there's a lot of healing people in there. And I used some of my experience, some of other people's I've experienced. I coordinated a narcissistic abuse recovery meetup for a while, and a lot of the characters are based not entirely, but loosely, and at times different pieces of their story, and I've got their permission to do so. All right, let's visualize the genuine woman. The mandate here is absolutely no depictions of cowering, brokenness, or generic victim stock imagery within the oceanic realism pillar. The identity, this woman is made of gold. And if you know anything about narcissists and their victims, they're usually the best people in the world. They're usually the most loving, giving people who tolerates junk nobody would tolerate because they're just so decent. This is an inherently valuable person that's totally authentic and unapologetic. All right. The posture now, she's got her confidence regained, or he has his confidence regained if you're a gentleman. Absolutely comfortable in her own skin, shrugging off the bleakness, and now refusing to ever cower again. The atmosphere, again, she surrounds herself with a safe haven, safe people, safe places. If it starts up, if someone's just determined to rip the group to shreds, she quietly leaves. She doesn't have to fight about it. She doesn't have to gain her stance. She just removes herself from that place. She's positioned in a real life devoid of manipulative pain, and she is moving toward or is now 100% of who she was meant to be. All right. Here's why I chose the fabrics and stuff we did. I call this the core aesthetic ingredients. I used high detail botanicals with background, watermarks, page borders, and chapter transitions. And this represents that organic, fragile growth. Okay, and I said I'd tell you what the lace meant. Here's what it means. This is the usage. We used it with overlays, framing, delicate architectural accents, and it represents the meticulous rebuilding of identity. But also, lace has a lot of holes in it. And if you are a person who's gone through anything like this and you're trying to put back your life, you understand that there are places in your life that can never be put back together. There's holes in your soul that may or may not ever be fully healed. So the holes, the spaces in the lace represent that as well. It's an intricate rebuilding. It has a lot of strong, thick places and a lot of very thin places and a lot of holes. So I do understand how you feel. All right, the gilded resilience. We used gold for this, just complete absolute gold and other metals too. The uses of this is for highlighting the truth, topographic accents, and symbolizing the made of gold lyrical mandate that this woman's soul or this gentleman's soul usually really is. All right. I put in some absolute visual prohibitions. Not that I don't like these just things, but I shouldn't think it's appropriate here. I said no rustic elements because this brand that I'm creating in Shattered Dreams Poetry is highly refined. I want to reject all rough hewn cabin or country motives, although I really like them. It wasn't what I was going toward here. No prepper survivalism. The sanctuary is a place of elegant peace, not a militarized bunker. So as you heal, I don't want you to throw off all people and surround yourself with barbed wire because you're afraid of being hurt again. And a lot of people do that. And so that's what I symbolize that is the military barbed wire where you lock yourself away where nobody else can ever get to you because there's really good people out there. You just got to find them. And believe me, I understand how difficult that is, but it can be done. I also stipulated we're not having sanitized evasion here. We're not going to pretty up the unpretty. Okay. As my character Jake in my book series, Prepare for the End, always says, the truth ain't always pretty, but it's still the truth. So we're going to stay within truth, but we're also going to move toward that beautiful place of your soul where you're fully healed, fully all you meant to be, where you're not being surrounded by this manipulative, soul destroying people anymore. So we're going to operate on what I call kinetic Christian realism, honest about the inferno of the past and uncompromising about the healing. We're not having cozy commercial tropes here. We're having realism. Mandate here is to strictly adhere to these prohibitions. No deviation from the oceanic realism standard is permitted. All right, let's look at the topographic tone and lyrical integration. Here's a line from one of the pieces of poetry. I actually just recorded this one a few minutes ago. I feel the slender wires snap, another layer freed from his crap. Now on that, what I want you to understand is there's the first healing that is, it's a little bit difficult. It's a little bit, um, it's the big things. It's what I call the big things. It's the things that, you're trying to get your life back, but you think you're really healed, but then something will come up that it seems so insignificant while the big blocks were chained to you. But now you feel its stricture. It might feel like a thin little wire, but you realize that it really was one of the tightest strictures, but you couldn't heal from it till you healed from the big blocks. I always envisioned these big concrete blocks with big, thick, heavy chains. And as they broke off, I just got more and more free. And then I began to find these slender wires that were wrapped tightly around me that didn't even show until you got the big ones gone. So I found some scripture for this as well, and I put the references down in here for you, but I'm going to read them to you just for a moment. This is going to be a little bit longer on this than what these normal ones will be. They'll be all short, but this one I just wanted to explain. These are scriptures that symbolize recovery, spiritual broken chains, and new creations. So first we have Hebrews 4:12. And all of these are for the King James Version, by the way. For the word of God is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. See, God knows what your heart is. He knows what you're living. You can pretty it up all you want. You can get that little family commercial going like so many of us did, but God knows the true intents of our hearts. And then we have Isaiah 42:16. And I will bring the blind by a way that they knew not. I will lead them in paths that they have not known. I will make darkness light before them and crooked things straight. These things will I do unto them and not forsake them. God will take you out of this dark place. Even if you can't figure out a way out, you're blind to what you need to do to rescue yourself. Maybe you have children involved. Maybe the whole family will be damaged if you remove yourself from this relationship. Maybe it'll cost you business wise or otherwise if it's someone a business relationship. But if you trust in the Lord, He will lead you in paths that you didn't know, and He'll make the darkness light, and He'll fix it for you. You just got to follow His leading. All right, 2 Corinthians 5:17. Therefore, if any man be in Christ, he's a new creature. Excuse me, a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, things are becoming new. Now, if you followed my platform any time at all, you know that I am a truly Christian and I follow the Lord and I follow His leading. I want to be spirit filled. I want to listen to that spirit. So if you are bound and you don't know the way out and you don't know the Lord, first thing I would tell you to do is pick up the Bible, begin to read, and repent of your sins. Ask Him to forgive you and put yourself in His hands so that you can hear His voice and let Him lead you out. He will take you from where you are right now and He won't make you a better person. He'll make you a brand new person, a brand new creature, a brand new creation. And He'll call all these old things passed away and things will become new. Now, I'm not going to tell you it's going to be easy. My journey has not been easy, and any of you who have followed this for any time will know that. The characters in my book series, Prepare for the End, their journey's not easy. True healing isn't a snap, it isn't overnight, it isn't simple. You go through some junk because those wires have to come out. The chains have to come out. You have to change your way of thinking. You got to let go of stuff that's old and get something new. All right, let's move to Luke 4:18. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because He hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, and recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are abused. Now, you guys, this verse is where my platform comes from. It's about raising the bar of knowledge, healing hurting people, and spiritual warfare, and that's all encapsulated right here in this one verse. But let's go on to Galatians 5:1. Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty wherewith Christ has made us free, and be not entangled again with the yoke of bondage. Once you get out of this mess, you get yourself healed before you get in another relationship. You don't ever want to go back into that kind of stuff. You want to get a true understanding of who you are, who you were meant to be in freedom. Okay, so let's look at some of that. Look over to the right over here. One of the things that we used was when even the type, even the font that we used played into this. We used all serif dominance. All lyrical lament must utilize elegant, high-end serif typography to carry theological and emotional weight. This conveys the gravity, the history, and enduring sense of truth aligning with the brand's core values. Now, if you don't know what serif and sans serif is, let me give you a thought. This type here, it's got the little like on the T, it's got the little extra places that fold down. On the Y, it's got the extra little places that go out. This is called sharif. If that's missing, it's called sans serif. But that's a more casual type font. So I didn't want anything casual about this. I wanted it to truly show the absolute. I know what it's like to be that bound. I know what it's like to be that much in pain. I know what it's like to want to be out so bad and you can't find a way. I know what it's like to worry about every little decision you're going to make is going to hurt somebody else. So you sacrifice your own self and you stay to keep everybody else safe, but it's not safe for you. So I wanted the gravity of that to really be shown in every piece of this channel and these PowerPoint slides I'm making. Right, let's look at the philanthropic anchor on it, the active restoration. The Shattered Dreams ecosystem is permanently anchored in real world intervention. Our aesthetic of the safe haven directly reflects our operational commitment to the vulnerable. This project operates as a master bridge between the narratives of survival and the physical reality of survival. All right, I had a mandatory inclusion, and I really want you to hear this and embrace it. All who heal must make a concerted effort to now help others heal and stop abuse wherever possible. It's why I work with Craig Mickle to get out information on savinggodschildren.com to help rescue trafficked children and to keep them from online predators. It's why I write about the stuff that I do. My God's Men introduces in the Prepare for the End series. God's Men is book 4, and it introduces a Texas task force that rescues trafficked women and children. And the whole theme of that book is rescuing and restoration for people who have had really, really terrible things happen to them. It's that ongoing battle between good and evil, where evil tries to overwhelm you, but the people who tap into the Lord, who are filled with His Spirit, have a completely different agenda, and their agenda is to rescue, to restore, to help, to bring back the dignity to a person, to provide the means of physical healing. Maybe they've not had any teaching and training in life because they've been kidnapped and kept for so long. They haven't learned the regular things. So it's practical knowledge as well. And I've had so much fun weaving all those things together. I really hope you check that out. And if you do, please send the link to others and help me get this story of restoration of good winning over evil out. This could be just the greatest primer on healing and spiritual battle you'll ever read. Um, just get it out there and get started. Book 1 ebook is free for 90 days, so there's no better time to get started. Prepare for the End by Rena Lynn, and you'll see a QR code here in a minute. All right, let's look at the platform neutral development ecosystem. Number one, I needed a digital video presence. Now, I'm the kind of person, I'd write the poetry in the book in the dark about 10 miles out in the country and no one would ever know my name. I'd hand it to somebody else to do all the publishing, stick a fake name on it, and go on about my business. But that didn't work for me. I've got a really good friend. He's a Hollywood producer, and his name's Michael. And he talked to me for hours one night. He's Serena. You gotta learn social media. You gotta get out there and get a presence. You're not gonna sell your book series because nobody knows who you are. It can be the absolute best series in the world, but it doesn't matter if nobody knows who you are. So he pushed me out of my comfort zone and told me I had to get on YouTube and Rumble, and I added Brighteon and several other things, but these are the video platforms. And then I created Total Freedom Publishing simply for the fact that everybody and their brother came out of the woodwork wanting this series. I had 10 books written at the time I started looking for publishers, but they all wanted a ridiculous amount of money to publish it. I had the idea that publishing houses paid you, but it's not that way anymore. So I took some classes on proofreading and editing and publishing, and I have a registered publishing company called Total Freedom Publishing. And this is what it looks like when a woman is breaking out of that bondage, that stricture. You learn that you're capable. You learn that you can do more than you ever think you can. You start dipping your toe in the water of people knowing your story and getting past that embarrassment because you know what? That embarrassment's not yours to carry. That shame is not yours to carry. And I've got a piece of poetry called Shame that speaks to that I'll be putting out very soon. But the primary hub for all of this is my website, renalyn.com. And I've been keeping everything else up right now but there's still a lot on there. And I'll try to slow down one day and get that done. Technical contact, again, is askrenalyn@yahoo.com. If you've got a story to share, if you've got a piece of poetry, I'm putting together a book right now where I'm compiling different chapters of each person's story of what they went through and how they healed and where they are now. And it'll be told in their own words. We can use your real name, we can use a fictitious name, or I can stick numbers on there. If you don't want to be known, you just want your story to help other people. Um, but this is where you contact me for all of that. And again, I own the publishing company. So if you just want to publish a book, I can work with you on that. I also do book covers. So here's the architecture of recovery that I was going toward that's complete. See this beautiful woman on the side? She's not arrogant. There's no sense of Jezebel or this hard-nosed businesswoman that rides roughshod over everybody else. She's just an elegant, beautiful woman in an elegant, beautiful space. See the light of the Lord coming down on her? She knows exactly who she is. She doesn't have to look for validation or acceptance in other people. She has it in herself and from the Lord. But this is the synthesis of the sanctuary interface. The psychology of it is this is the embodiment of a genuine woman, fearless, unshakable, and made of pure gold. The aesthetic is this is where we executed the oceanic realism through high detail botanicals, lace, and gilded textures because it just brings that beauty, that elegance of a woman that I wanted to go through. One of the things that I dealt with is going through never having been celebrated as a woman, and always if I dressed beautiful, if I looked beautiful, I was told that was what a woman on the street looked like, or that it really wasn't my look, or just a endless series of things that really made me doubt my femininity. So I had to really learn to embrace that, and it's not as easy as you think it is, people. And I get that. So this is part of what this symbolizes as well. The boundaries was I wanted to defend the sanctuary, not just of your home, but your life, your personhood, your thoughts, your value as a human being. Again, we rejected all the rustic and the prepper and the sanitized visual tropes because we wanted a true representation during this poetry of the journey. You're captured, you're stuck, you're diminished, you're bound, and now you're breaking all that off and you're moving toward total freedom, which is why my platform is called Total Freedom, into this elegant, beautiful, totally free, totally self confident, nothing brash, nothing prickly and pokey, no revenge here, just a desire to be all that God meant you to be in your wholeness, to kick out the walls and to figure out you can do a whole lot more than you ever realized you could. The mission here is to anchor every deployment in the kinetic Christian realism mandate of anti-trafficking and orphan care, of healing hurting people, of spiritual warfare. This is a rendition of a woman who is 100% who she was supposed to be. And again, this is featured on Shattered Dreams Poetry. Drop me a comment below. Share this with your friends and other people. There's a lot of people out there that would really relate to this poetry more than you realize. And I'll be honest with you, there's going to be some people in your life that's never dealt with any of this, never experienced it. They're going to roll their eyes. They're going to give you those looks. They're going to tell you, I can't even say on this microphone some of the things that I have had lobbed at me. But you know what? I don't care because my platform is raising the bar of knowledge, healing hurting people, and spiritual warfare. So if you're enjoying this poetry, please drop that comment in there. If you've had some of this happen to you and you want to share just a snippet of it, do that too. If you want your poetry dropped into PowerPoint form and added on here, contact me at askrenalyn@yahoo.com and we can see if we can make it happen or we can see if we can publish your book. And I'll catch you next time on Shattered Dreams Poetry. Bye.